Okay, so we're here today with Charity, and Charity's been a patient in our office for since mid-August of 2013, so it's been a couple months, and we're doing our first update. So Charity, if you could tell us a little bit about why you came to the office to begin with and what's transpired since you've started care with us.
Well, originally I came in because in early August I came home one night from my kids' karate practice eating fast food and started having really bad palpitations. Like my heart was skipping hundreds of times in an hour. Scared me to death. Ended up in an ambulance. Went to the emergency room, spent about 7 hours there. They couldn't get it under control at all. They kept giving me more medication, taking blood, the whole heart attack workup, and I'm 40, so that's not a good thing.
Scary.
Very scary. And basically sent me home with a prescription for I was already on a beta blocker for a rapid heart rate, and they sent me home with another prescription for a different beta blocker. I spent the whole next day at home. My heart was still skipping for thousands of times in a day, and I somehow found your name on Google and came in, and it looked like you could help me out, so here I was.
And you know what, I think that wasn't the first time that you've been at the emergency room.
No, I had problems with my heart for since my mid-20s probably, with rapid heart rate, and I would complain to doctors. I would go to cardiologists. I would say, my heart rate gets higher when I eat. Like if I eat something, which most of the time was fast food or eating out, that my heart rate would get rapid. Or if I stood up and tried to walk across the room, my heart would just pound. If I tried to exercise, I would just immediately would start pounding, and my natural resting heart rate was always in the 90s. If I got up and walked across the room, it might be in the 120s. It was just crazy. So they put me on a beta blocker. I'd had the skipped beats here and there, but never like I'd had that night. And that's why I really thought I must be having a heart attack. Something's really bad wrong with me. So,
right.
But yeah, I'd had heart issues for years, and no one could ever figure out why it would be related to eating anything.
So how long's it been? And I know we've had a few incidences, but it's just so dramatically better.
Yeah, I had a second go round with it where I ended up at the emergency room, and it was after I'd eaten something, and it was while we were waiting for some of my testing to come back. After that, I haven't. I mean, I'll have one or two, which everybody has skipped heartbeats. A lot of people don't feel them. I feel all of mine, but I mean, I went from hundreds in a day to maybe feeling one in a day or none in a day, or a week with none and maybe one or two, which is totally easy to live with.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's probably been at least a month or more since I've had any real major problems with it.
Awesome. Some of the other things that you had originally were anxiety, and probably part of that was attached to the fact that you're not that old and you're having all these heart issues, and that's kind of scary in and of itself. And also some digestive things. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, the anxiety, and I do air quotes for that because I thought that's what it was. Every doctor I'd go to tried to give me antidepressants or whatever, saying that, and I'm like, I'm not a depressed kind of person. They would try to give me medication for anxiety, and it wasn't that I had anxiety all the time. It was always around food. So if I went out and I ate, and then I came home, I would be keyed up. My heart would be racing. My heart would be pounding for hours after I ate. So any little thing after eating would cause an anxiety attack or a panic attack. And so I went through 2.5 years of panic attacks every single day.
Wow.
When I was working in corporate America, and I finally was just like, I can't even do this. I can't even work anymore, because I would have breakfast, drive into work, and by the time I got out of the car, when I stood up, my heart would start doing stuff, and I'd have a panic attack. And so all of it, I think, was related to each other, but nobody was ever connecting the dots. The digestive stuff, I'd also had that for years, to the point where they took my gallbladder out, which didn't need to be taken out. There were no stones in my gallbladder. They just said it was sluggish, and so they took it out, which then caused a whole host of other problems, because you can't absorb your fats and process your foods right.
Sure.
So that just compounded
the other
problems. Yeah.
Wow. So again, the interesting thing about food sensitivities is that they're delayed a lot of times, so you don't really see it's not like an anaphylactic reaction, like you eat something that your throat swells up and you can't breathe and whatever. It's something that's a little bit more insidious, and there are so many different reactions that individual people have that it really is harder to connect the dots. And if you're going to someone who's like old school GI doctor or cardiologist, they don't see it and they don't get it, and so unfortunately there's lots of people like you running around that are suffering with symptoms that no one's helping them with. So flash forward to you come to our office, we start care with you, we put you on a special diet, we do your testing and talk a little bit about the testing and the diet and that kind of thing.
When I came in, I was willing to do whatever. You could have told me to eat grass from the yard, and I was like, at this point, I surrender. I will do whatever you tell me to do. And so when I came in, I had all the different testing run, which was not hard testing to have done or anything, but my test came back horrific.
Yes. Yeah.
And
you were very reactive.
Yeah, it was a little overwhelming when I looked at it. I think the most interesting and probably life-changing thing and body-changing thing for me was that I kind of knew from our talk that I was going to have to come off gluten. I sort of knew that was probably one of my problems, but to find out the other foods that I never would have known I was cross-reactive to, I think probably saved me a lot of time and a lot of hassle. Yes. Because I know while we were waiting for those to come back, I was trying to eat gluten-free processed foods that I found because I didn't want to let go of my normal food, and I kept having reactions to that, and then I would contact you and you're like, don't eat that stuff. But it's and then to find out that I have corn and soy and dairy and all these, I would have never known that. I mean, I would have never thought corn, and then realizing that corn is in every processed food in other words. I didn't know what the xanthan gum was, and then I'd find out, I had a reaction to that. So it's been a challenge to learn how to not even just eat, but like if I need to take a medication, I have to look and make sure
there's
on
nothing in that as
there's
well.
So it's a change, but for me, I mean, I've embraced the change, because I feel so much better than I did when I first came in, and then I have probably in the last 15 years. So I'm willing, to do whatever that is.
And the longer that you're on that road, that you get more creative with the way you're eating, and it just isn't a big deal after a while. I think one of the things people really are concerned about, they get really scared about, is making those changes. But what I try to tell them is everyone feels like that in the beginning, but once you see the changes that you get that are positive, there's just, and then you have the experience of going backwards, maybe getting exposed, like with the boar's head. Remember, they were slicing it on the wrong slice or whatever. We don't know really.
We don't know what happened, but I can't have it.
Yeah. So one of the great side effects of your feeling better and us finding out what things were wrong and starting to get them righted is that you've had a really substantial weight loss, and it hasn't been, I think you'll say, it hasn't been really hard.
No, I lost about 28 pounds, and I would have lost more, but I got the flu and then something else. I caught everything all at the same time. So I haven't, in the last couple of weeks, been really paying attention. But I mean, I haven't gained any of the weight back. But I about 28 pounds. So, and not just the weight, but like I can tell I've lost inches, and I don't feel bloated. Like when I eat, I don't feel bloated anymore. I used to, everything I ate, it was like out of here. I just felt horrible. I don't have that. I don't have reflux problems anymore. I don't get any kind of indigestion problems. Before all this, it didn't matter what I ate because I was so ripped up. So even if I tried to eat healthy for a few days, I've had salads or even like green smoothies, everything would just go right through me. And when we would go out somewhere, I had to like think ahead. Okay, well, if we eat, I can't leave the house for this many hours. Because if I eat something, my heart will race, my heart will pound, I might get anxious, and then I'll be sick. And that was how I lived every day. I was so used to that. So it's been a kind of an adjustment for me to say, I can go out to the mall and I can eat at Ruby Tuesdays and I can have them cook my food a certain way, and then I can go shop. And I don't have to worry about where is the bathroom, am I going to freak out because my heart's racing? I don't have that.
Wow, that's liberating.
Yeah, very, very. Because I still sometimes catch myself thinking, wait a minute, I can't go here because I'm going to eat. Like I would plan my life around eating makes me sick and anxious, so I cannot eat at your house, or I cannot go out to eat with those people.
Wow.
Because I don't want to have a panic attack and I don't want to get sick in front of these people. So I just everything was around when I would eat something. Now I don't worry about it.
So your world just got a little bit bigger.
Yeah, exactly. Because I can eat I can eat a snack in the car and not worry about like panicking on the road.
Wow. You know what? I didn't know the full. Till you just told me that, I really didn't get the whole extent of it. But that's really pretty incredible.
Yeah, because when I came to see you, it was all about my heart escaping.
Right. Yes.
We were focused completely on that. But yeah, my life before, I mean, there was so much else wrong.
Right.
And never did I think it was something to do with what I was eating. It just, right. I thought something else must be wrong, but I never connected it to being that sensitive to so many things.
Well, you know what? We're going to check back with you at the end of your care plan, because I have a feeling that we're going to see some more weight loss, and I think things will just start to level out, and there'll probably be some other things that you'll want to report back. So awesome testimonial. I'm sure that's going to help somebody somewhere who is suffering with a similar problem and doesn't know what to do and is living in that small world that you're coming from. So thank you so much for taking some time to share that. I appreciate it.
Thank you.